Hello, hello. Welcome one and all. Welcome to my stream. I am Paladin Ashe here to stream for you again. And I am once again getting into it with Grim Dawn, though I had to real quick check certain things. That is set up. That is set up. Okay, yeah, it's working. Okay. Yeah, I'm just going to get into it today. Also, at one point, I'm going to step away and, grab some food because I literally ordered shimkin strips and fries from Triple O's before the stream began. Literally seconds before, because I'm hungry now. Bring the Archive of Fate to an Asteria. Hey, dude. Okay, right. I should empty my inventory before moving on. Let's see. Do I got anything new on me that's worthy of... Okay, I replaced that last time. I have no use for that. No use for that. That is not an upgrade in any way. No use for that. Anything that I replace this with has to have 100% physical converted to ether damage. No, that's not an upgrade. That's not an upgrade. Can't equip any of those. No. No. Fuck no. No, no. No, no. See. I'm gonna have to sell that anyways. What is this? Oh yeah, it's a two-handed mace. No. Manipulation. I don't have manipulation. That is a huge upgrade though in terms of general okay, I'm equipping that.
See anything you like?
Don't need that. Yeah, I'm holding on to that for a few more levels. That will immediately replace, I'm gonna say, Decaying Gold Band of Soul Warding. No, it's gonna replace Wraithbone. Either way, I'm not selling that. Sell that. That's garbage. Hot garbage. Garbage.
See you around.
All right, yeah, that's the accounts of the woman and her child, and initially her husband, who suffered the Donner Party experience complete with Wendigos. So basically, they started eating people to survive and then started to become monsters. See, split gums, don't care. Yeah, anyways. Shove everything to the side. Okay. I'm not talking to you. You're several expansions removed from me. Okay. All right. I can't leave until I do this, and this many times. I have not explored everywhere, and that is a tragedy. Kill the non-believers.
not ready.
I wonder what the etymology for bassinet and you know, like the helmet and the manger is. I can tell that there's like a bunch of like gold items on the floor, but I don't really need them, so I'm not getting them.
Oh boy, here I am wasting 500 points.
Why didn't that? Oh, I know why that didn't. I didn't hear that, but I saw that. Yeah, my headset's currently charging, and because it's plugged in via USB, it's not counted as the thing. Let me actually, one sec. I'm gonna attend to that. One sec. Give me a moment. Where is that? Line voice mod. Let's go with that because I'm always using voice mod. And let's real quick dip over to Twitch. And channel. Try that.
Oh boy, do I love technical difficulties.
I cannot hear that. That is so frustrating. Let me set that again. Fucking let's do that again.
Tarnished, you need to ride Blythe's Fat Wolf Dong to defeat the Elden Lords.
Lamau. Still not hearing it. What the hell? Whatever. I will deal with that later. I'm the biggest of nads. But anyways, how goes Chanka? That's one of those I need to watch it sort of animes because it sounds hellaciously cute and they make so very much porn out of the main character. Not the main character. The ancient magus in question, Elias. Like, a gratuitous amount. Probably because, I mean, he's definitely barcoded. Yeah, wood for me too. Hey, bring me more skeletons. Ow! Yeah, I've heard only good things about Ancient Magus Bride, which places it on my to-watch list, but I really need to actually buckle down and start chewing through that, because I tend to go through sort of like spurts and starts of like watching a lot of anime and then like letting a bunch of seasons pass me by and then watching a lot of anime. I fully acknowledge watching anime is certainly a better, time usage than doom scrolling. Let's see. Ba-ba-ba. Why does it have so many of those like extra spaces at the top like that? Sealed by chthonic energies, okay. Lamau. Push it. The one problem about this build is that I'm so squishy at the best of times. Let's see. Let's check. Declare the travel to 4 icon and destroy anything that stands in your way. Reclaim the ashes. Okay, so that's up there. I hate how some of these things kind of just drop fucking bullshit at their feet. Like, thanks for that, bitch. I think Fort Paimon or Fort Icon's situation with them was further back this way. Yeah, it's like a dark area there. There they fucking are. For Hangman. Oh, yeah, there it is. There is Le Dungeon. Just need to find up a way up there, which is probably that way. No, not choking on anything. I was making a fake choking sound. Oh, yeah, like that. Oh. Okay, see, I heard that one. I don't know why the ones that I was triggering couldn't be heard. What the fuck? You mean fucking Omni-Man going, ugh?
Can't do that yet.
Treasure! Okay, crest of the Black Legion, but what about the crust of the Black Legion? You know those soldiers really don't like them crusts. Reminds me of this fucking story from when I like visited my step family's place in the interior of BC. An aunt of one of my stepsisters proceeded to lie to me about like them having a redheaded cousin who disappeared because they wouldn't eat their fucking crusts. I was 6 and believed them. I was like 6 or 7. That still irritates me because like, I'm sorry, like all like lying to a kid over crusts. I mean, I get that you like people lie to kids all the time. Like, come on. I'm not sure if it even got me to eat my crusts because, like, genuinely speaking, like, I don't remember if I did. I did promptly be like, give my condolences to my stepsisters over their cousin. They were so weirded out. They were like, what the fuck are you talking about? Okay, I haven't done what I came here to do, as far as I can tell. Archon Bartholem. The Archon had been buried beneath the claim the ashes for the okay. So it's not there. Oh shit. What's the status of my my Chimkin order? Okay, it's on its way. Game's fine if y'all noticed it freezing up like that. The freeze up is quite literally because if I click out of a screen, it doesn't play in the background. That's it. It's no big deal. Okay. Why can't I just give them the corpse dust and call it a fucking day? Because that thing up there says crypt entrance. Oh, stairs down. Okay. I did all that running around for no reason. Melted. Should have stayed home, bitch. Loose ends. Give me your fucking bone dust, bitch. Oh shit. Ow, that burns. Okay. Okay, it's almost here. Chimkin strips and fries. Could have made those myself, but fuck me. The fucking honey mustard mayo out of Triple O's is so fucking good. Yes, I have it. Excellent. With these ashes, Malkadar shall once again take form in the physical realm. I hope many chosen died trying to stop you from claiming them. I thought that said Toronto for a moment. It says Torment. Can we perform the ritual now? We now have everything we need. Your loyalty and assistance have... Hello, EA! The ritual will be dangerous, and of that I can assure you, malignant spirits will be drawn to it like moths to a flame. I need you to dispatch anything that tries to interfere. Join us at the Chamber of Souls. Its doors have been unlocked. Okay, I'm gonna step away for just a few minutes, grabbing food off of my porch. I will be right back. I'm leaving the stream running, etc. issue, in my opinion. Dude got, like, lost in a tomb because he only had the one torch, but I mean, come on, it's a fantasy setting. Torches are always lit. Girl. Yeah, Goblin Slayer does indeed have many options for dealing with his enemies. And with any possible problem whatsoever. The trope of the hyper prepared is always pretty interesting. You know, like people hate, hate on Batman because everybody's always like, yeah, so anyways, with enough prep time. But I mean, okay, but if you know somebody's gonna come for you and you know their fucking weaknesses, why wouldn't that prep time be useful? Port Heron. Honestly, I think the reason why, people hate with enough prep time is because it really does fuck with power scalers. Like, Batman has no powers. And yet he shit-mixed Superman with a fucking plan that he came up on a lark to keep people from going evil. Ow. He's no longer allowed to use those because, like, he causes, fucking goblins to die horribly. Yeah, like, okay, I get that there are reasons to dislike Batman. He has a tendency to be a bit of a hypocrite about his, like, views, but at the same time, like, when I say a hypocrite, I mean, like, he forces them on other people. But I mean, Superman isn't really any better considering, like, there's that one animation set during, like, I think the Reagan administration or something like that during, like, the Vietnam War. And fucking, like, Superman comes across, like, a village full of women who were basically comfort slaves of the Viet Cong. And she basically fed the Viet Cong to these women in, like, non-literal terms by just freeing them and giving them guns. And he's like, we don't do that. It's like, I do. And even the comics are straight up kind of, like, inconsistent on Superman in that regard. Because Superman straight up has one where he tells, like, the Joker, I don't have an oath against killing, I just don't do it often. I am a necromancer occultist. So I want to say that registers as a Kabbalist. Yeah, I enjoy pet classes for that sort of feeling of just walking through your enemies. Suits is highly contested between writers' perspectives over the years. Parker Spider-Man gets the worst treatment, though. Yeah. Like, don't get me wrong, I like Superman, and he has a lot of good moments, but I feel like his overpoweredness ruins a lot of the drama, and it also kind of makes him a bit of a hypocrite, because, like, he'll be all like, how to put it? So Batman won't kill the Joker because if he kills the Joker, that's like him giving into like the dark side of his nature. You know, that is a perfectly reasonable to be like, I won't kill people. Superman just doesn't kill people because I value life equally. And like, so like Man of Steel has that sequence where he like breaks fucking Zod's neck. And people try to make the biggest deal about how like, fucking Superman killed a lot of people in that movie, just like having that fight. And it's like, okay, that's because it was like a realistic rendition of letting the guy job you about until you figure out how to fight him. Yeah. But like, fucking, then the newest Superman comes out and is wildly glazed, while like, there's like a moment in it where like it's just like, oh, you guys, you're not considering like the damage this fight is happening in this fight in this city, and he's spending time saving a damn squirrel. Yo, in a way, putting all life as equally valuable is its own form of non-heroism, because like, oh, you saved that squirrel and took your attention away from other more meaningful battles. Okay. Yeah. Like, okay, I get it. They want to build that tension of, will he do it? But like, You want to fucking like bitch about fucking the Joker, but the Joker keeps his trash usually to Gotham, and Gotham's like the wretched hive of scum and villainy. Fucking. Meanwhile, you know, like fucking you know, Lex Luthor is literally planning like nonsense, like becoming president so he can fuck with the world just out of amusement. Ow. Ow, ow. And Zod, like, he just puts him in forever jail so he can come the fuck back out. You know, it's like, at that point, you are treasuring the lives of villains who will kill people gratuitously more than you are, like, other, like, you know, like, softer, weaker people who can't defend themselves. You know, it's like, I like Superman, but, like, the criticism of Batman easily applies to Superman, I'm going to be honest. You know, you can't have Batman is weak and has no powers, and also Batman isn't like, you know, like isn't using his powers to completely like rewrite like the human condition or some shit like that. Not just fucking Space Satan, like, Zod isn't even the only fucking evil Kryptonian out there. Every time he runs into a Kryptonian, it seems like they're fucking, you know, they're basically Ubermensch to Germans who are like, yeah, we're just gonna violently and utterly, just like alter the earth and force humanity to be a slave people. The Kryptonians were not good people, it seems, in most continuities. Down in the nutsack over here. Okay. Ow! What is shooting me? Mm-hmm. Okay, seriously, what was shooting? There is still something shooting me, and that's still pissing me off. I'm gonna go south and find whatever it is, maybe, and kill it. Fine. It's not there. Da, 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 da. Oh. right, these things have multiple lives or some shit. Funnily enough, so like the plot of this has been basically we're trying to like push back the Grim Dawn, which is the threat of, well, these green things, which are basically like the souls of ancient beings who came before, you know, like everything else. And they're basically trying to take back the world. They were like forced out by the gods or some junk. But if memory serves, the plot of this starts throwing in the chthonic cult, who believe that everybody is like going to merge together and form like a coagulant like blood cluster and a rejoining. You know, they worship you know, blood as a concept, and they've kind of jumped on the Grim Dawn train to bring about the end of all existence. And they're kind of like a very last minute include. Not so much in terms of like fighting them, but in terms of making them a major threat. And you're ultimately thwarting one of their rituals. Which is funny because it basically means like the actual like, you know, Grim Dawn itself ceased to be the primary problem. So like the immediate follow-up expansion is like, okay, we're focusing on that again.
Sometimes you just gotta do.
I mean, no reason not to. It's not like I've got like a, you know, a scare me option like Bo's got. Mr. Oh, I'm just gonna put the most like annoying to me things into my redeems and then get pissy about it later on. Love him to bits, but it's like, we've had to basically tell him, you have to put a fucking timer on this shit. It's like, oh, why are everybody spamming me with Rogel Dorn? Because you make it so fucking funny. Some IPs nowadays have a new sudden unknown threat every expansion. Yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, I kind of get it when it's like a new IP, but like it gets weird when it's an older when it's like it's an IP that's well established. I mean, WoW kills off so very few of its major threats. You'd think that they'd like focus on a thing for longer than an expansion.
Took you long enough. Then I thought I'd have to save the world all by myself.
The thing I find most weird about WoW is how circuitous it's been about certain things. Final Fantasy 14 a little bit, but fucking we went to fucking Draenor twice before we went to Kultiris.
The cult of Cthon is too numerous for us to take them head on. But we can sabotage their efforts with a few precise attacks while our Black Legion friends keep them distracted elsewhere. It appears that the ritual is being powered by blood harvested at the cult's camps, delivered here in despicable blood wagons. To complicate matters, the constant flow of blood is maintaining a chthonic seal over the entrance to the Tomb of the Watchers. I may be able to breach it with some effort, but there is no way you would be able to follow me through. You will have to disrupt the blood deliveries first. The tomb itself is split into 3 levels, with the bottom floor sealed off behind ancient wards. But if the cult is delivering blood in those quantities, then they must have already broken through them. I'm going to enter the tomb and see if I can disrupt the ritual from inside. In the meantime, you should deal with the blood wagons. When you're finished, join me on the bottom level, just beyond the seal of the Lughorian. With luck, we will stop the cult of Cthon before the Lughorian even moves a tentacled limb.
All right, yeah. The cult of Cthon is basically trying to summon a Blood Cthulhu. Magic's one of those things that's really interesting and terrifying, because there's like necromancia's guy kills people and resurrects them as like soul slaves. Blood magic is I puppet you around with your own blood, or even control your very mind through your blood. Well, I mean, that's like a form of magic. There's like a bunch of magic in this that could be considered dark. And I'm not describing in universe, I'm describing, say, like in the general sense. I'm not sure what sort of magic the chthonic cult practices, but it's blood focused and they want to summon Cthulhu. And most of my shit disappeared. I didn't even notice. Honestly, most young folks probably haven't even watched Legend of Atla or fucking Legend of Korra to even like rock that. Bloodbending is very much just the physical side of things, though. Like, they never really elaborate how, like, you know, Amon's able to, like, blood bend a person's, like, bending away. Ow! Ugh. I really do hate how the game does that sometimes. Yeah, it really wasn't. Ow! Okay, there we go. Ow, come on.
That skill's not ready.
But yeah, like, I enjoy Atla, but it is basically like a very simplified magic system, which is fine. That is 100% fine. Not every magic system has to be like super deep. And it is, again, literally martial arts based. It is an extension of the motion. So like it doesn't need to be hyper complex. Let's see. I should probably book it to a town and sell things before I get like bitched at by my inventory.
I'll give you a good price on what I've got left.
Sell that. Sell that. Sell that. One of these days, I'd like to equip a scythe of the necromancer and have it be useful. That's useless. That's useless. That's useless. That's useless. Let's just sell anything I straight up can't equip. With the exception of if it's like a level block. No. 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 Can't replace this. Hound. Doombolt, not useful to me, but that is in every way, except for the health, an upgrade. Finger of Guard Delver. Nen was actually both simple and deep despite its rules being ignored by a few named characters. I think my buddy Joey's talked about Nen on a couple of times. Because he's actually into Hunter x Hunter. Me, I only ever remember the name so I can ask that question. If an android were to harness the power of Nen, would that make them a Nendroid?
See you around.
Looking for a new you?
Yes, because I look like hot ass. That actually shows up. Wild. Wild and pure and forever free. Locked you to the tumultuous heavens. So far, the only living beings as it is life energy, but probably, yeah. Funny though when someone whips a gun like Harry and the opponent dislikes power uses using outside items. I always find that funny too, because like this is a fight, yo. Fucking like, okay, so I've talked about the Alex Virus novels before, and like the main character in the like the magic system of that setting has mages and adepts. Mages are like, if you're a pyromancer, you can do anything fire magic. If you're an adept with fire though, you really can only do one thing and one thing only. Like harden your skin or drain life from people or what have you. You know, all things that are like, I'm not sure about the harden your skin thing, but like, you know, fucking, you know, they meet like an adept teenager who was basically stalking the main character at one point, and he lays hands on a life mage and does nothing because she's a really good life mage. And she proceeds to be like, I'm sure it's okay. I'm sure this happens all the time. Yeah. But fucking like, the main character is a diviner, which is another way of saying they're basically an oracle. And he can predict things like minutes, possibly hours into the future. And often uses it to like predict like the outcome of things ahead of times to protect himself. But the thing is, again, that's all he can do. He can only do divination magic. You know, it's not limited to a singular trick, but it is limited to a school. And as a result of that, he has no actual outright direct defense, except to basically like use various magic items. And he is apparently a specialist in tool using, like, you know, like in all of Great Britain. And he'll basically do shit like throw glitter in people's faces or throw knives at them. And his reasoning behind doing this is because it certainly changes the shape of, you know, the battlefield. And in addition to that, you know, one, glitter in the eyes is a pain in the ass. but also throwing a knife at a person is basically like, it's not really effective. However, it freaks people out to have a knife thrown at them. What actually is across that bridge is... That was a lot of scrap that I just sacrificed for that. Oh dear. Okay, that's not fun. Holy shit, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit. Ow. Honestly, like, it's funny too. Like, okay, the Dresden Files can be a little bit frustrating at times, but it's usually because of Dresden being Dresden. Also at times because of the setting being what it is. But at the same time, the setting isn't unreasonable with the character. Like, it goes out of its way to explain why, say, for instance, the White Council is the way it is. There's a whole ass book dedicated to explaining that. The Council in the Alex Ferris novels is populated by a bunch of basically sycophants who don't care if they write on the bottom line to have a dude wiped off the face of the map for the crime of defending himself against, rising conflicts. Because, like, essentially a dude who has dirt on a bunch of people proceeds to, like, push for him to be, like, executed. And because of this, he signs on with a Dark Wizard. Keep in mind, prior to that, they held him in contempt because they thought him a Dark Wizard because he was a Dark Wizard's apprentice. And he was like, I'm a neutral. I never graduated that way. I required somebody else. And nobody would fucking help him when, like, things went bad with that dude. They just were like, them's the breaks, and, ignored his strife. And then complain when he, like, decides to side on with one of the dudes who was a pretty chill guy. That was kind of the thing, is like, the Dark Wizards are basically just Darwinistic. They can be awful, but the Council Wizards are rarely all that high-minded, considering at one point they essentially blow wide open a PDF Epstein Island place, and it's made clear to him, yeah, this is not a Dark Wizard operation, and this will just get, like, made again elsewhere. We're saving kids now, but we can't really stop it from being remade because the people that want it to be a thing exist. And, like, he helps out with that. He fixes that situation, and at no point are any of the people he was working with or building bridges with even the least bit supportive of him. And then they have the audacity to be mad when he lashes out, defends himself, and gets a few people killed who were actively trying to kill him. One of which was like a fucking an earth mage, you know, a fucking like, you know, a butch lesbian. Okay, not a lesbian, but like she had no romances with anybody and radiated the energy. You know, but like, no, I'm talking about Alex Virus. You know, different series, similar tone, but honestly, like, more frustrating characters. That's the series that has the character Sonder that are listed as like so horrifically useless and backbiting that like for a character that's like Butters from Harry Dresden, he's like genuinely an insult to this to the comparison. Because whereas Butters goes on to wield literally the fucking sword Excalibur, yo, fucking Sonder basically won't do anything because he's a coward. A coward who's so loyal to the council that he can't even imagine like them doing bad things. And that's the thing, a lot of people just can't imagine that the council is like populated by awful people. Mm-hmm. All right, required skeleton key. I'm not fucking doing that today. Yeah, fucking the Alex Virus novels are fun, but they're also frustrating, and I'll say they aren't as good as like the Dresden Files, because whereas the Dresden Files feels like a more developed setting, the Alex Virus novels are written almost kind of like you could imagine that like all of this is in its own pocket dimension, featuring the occasional reference to fucking London. Like Dresden will go to like real places in Chicago and mention like, you know, living in Chicago. But fucking Alex Virus will at most mention like places like the Heath and whatnot. And only very basically in passing. Where was that exit? There was an exit around here. There it is. Okay, my inventory ain't bad, so I'm gonna continue. Now, one novel series that does go into its like its area that I found interesting, but it's a little bit paused, is the Rivers of London series, where in that setting magic is treated as sort of like a slightly undiscovered science. Basically, Sir Isaac Newton wrote a book on physics called his Principe, but he wrote another one, and that was to divine the the truths of what he called forma. Forma is literally just magic. And, you know, it ended up becoming the sole purview of a group known as the Folly in London, which by the beginning of the novel series is long since fallen on hard times, because during World War II, they tried to put their foot into it and bring back, like, you know, the spirit of the Empire, their last hurrah. It didn't go well. They attacked a German outpost that apparently was doing like horrific mad science magic experiments on victims of the Holocaust in an area known as Ettersburg. But the problem is that it did not go well for them. They didn't even get to Ettersburg. They fucking got like absolutely trounced. Most of the main master wizard of the Folly's friends died. Exactly one is still alive today. He's very old, and it also ruined relationships with what are they called? I always forget it. But basically there's a group in in England in this setting, named after the guy who forged Excalibur. One sec. Forged Excalibur, because he's spoken of in the Poetic Edda. Poetic Edda. Wayland. So they're called the Sons of Wayland, and it didn't go well for them. Also, it didn't go well for the American mages either, who were involved, so that like spoiled the relationship there. So basically, you know, like, he's been just sort of licking his wounds for the better part of a century, and not aging, by the way. Like, the master wizard of England at this time is like over 100 years old and doesn't look over 40, and he can't explain why. It's just a thing that started happening to him. The magic system is also kind of neat because while it doesn't have a mana system, you don't want to overuse it, because you will literally have a stroke. Yeah. And the main character, Peter Grant, he's a mixed black, he's mixed Nigerian British, if memory serves. I say the setting is kind of paused because it does kind of reference a lot of like British black culture, and that's not the paused part. The paused part is where like he kind of is like annoying about like his like about a lot of that stuff sometimes. But like at one point he spots like an old friend and now enemy in disguise, because she disguised herself by like adopting the appearance of one of his peers, and he's all like, oh yeah, I know that's a fake because she got the nose too large because of racism. He doesn't word it like that. I should be a little bit more fair. He doesn't word it like that, but he does basically word it like, oh yeah, but it's really hard to like eschew that sort of sentiment. It's like, okay, but is it really racism if the dude's got a big honker of a nose? Maybe she's just bad with faces, my dude. But yeah, like, it's an interesting setting. It goes into sort of like the magical underworld and whatnot. It also covers how like magic's limits do exist. Like, there have been people who have studied the very like limits of like when things are worded in ways you have to deal IRL. Yeah. But yeah, so like the magic system, is still very much a developing craft, and much has been lost. At one point, he interacts with a woman who's like the descendant of like a lord or something like that, and she's kind of an annoying feminist. She like at one point refers to like, the folly having previously not included women as an atavistic fear of women. She's one of those types. Peter doesn't really fuck with her much, but anyways, like she practices magic. She's also really ancient, and she basically like divined methods of healing that she's going to let die with her because somebody in the past abused her talents and she did not like that. So she's like, fine, I'm not going to pass these on to my my adoptive daughter. It's also got some really strange shit, like, so in this setting, it is possible to become a god. And the main character is at one point asked by the very spirit of the River Thames. There are two spirits, by the way. All of the rivers have a spirit related to them, but the Northern Thames has a spirit and the Southern Thames has a spirit, because the Northern Thames left London during the Great Stink because they culverted, the rivers that made a bunch of his sons, and his sons died. So like he's mad about that. So he, his placement in the South is filled by Mother Thames, who was originally like a Nigerian woman who came to become a nurse and then got dumped by her, by her boyfriend and failed all of her exams. And so she was like, I kind of don't want to live anymore. And so she goes to like one river and is like, gross. And then she goes to another river. She's like, eh. And then she goes to another river and the river's like, if you jump in, I'll give you all the children that you want. Your dreams will be, won't just be names. And she's like, for real? No shot, no cap? Okay. And so like a bunch of like the rivers in London are now basically like her daughters, with some exceptions. And it's kind of weird. Also, at one point, the main character has sex with his girlfriend in a river, and that births a new god down the line. And it's kind of weird because when those gods are born, they're not born from a person. They just appear in the river somewheres. If memory serves, that particular river's spirit. How do I get into there? And let me rotate my camera. Okay, how do I get into there? But yeah, fucking, it was weird. There are some fucking weird kind of horny parts in the books. Like the one where he like max on a vampire chick but doesn't know that she's a vampire chick. Vampires are also kind of fucked up in this setting because they're not really your typical vampires, and they're just kind of necrotic upon the world around them just by existing. Apparently the attaché of the American FBI once upon a time gave the hand of a fucking vampire to the spirit of a river in like fucking the Netherlands, and it killed them. Hello? Could you not drop that shit forever? Okay, what's my inventory looking like now? Still got large gaping holes, so we continue. We can. I will say though, Rivers of London does like make London sound like a neat place. Not to mean of me to put it that way, but it does basically like go into some interesting details and some lore about like the city that like, you know, you wouldn't know unless you did some research. It's fascinating. So, you know, it's a series of books I do recommend. Even if it does have some cringe moments, it is actually genuinely a good series. Also, the main character is a dork, and I will say for all he has his moments, like there's a book where they track down like a weird possessed like engine, and he walks into the warehouse with it and puts manacles on it in full like view of like the patsy of like the main villain, and it's like, you're nicked, and the dude's just like, what are you doing? They are a bit, like, as I said, they're a bit strange at points though. Like, even at like not accounting for like the lefty politics. There's the fact that like at one point in like one of the novels, he's like on a train while like a chaos demon is doing its thing, and he gets grabbed along the groin by a dude who's shitting himself. Okay. I'm finally at a point where I can, one sec. Okay, so take it to 32, max out Hellfire with 1 point into Ember Claw. Okay. Ember Claw. Yeah. let's see. An aura of hellfire surrounds the Hellhound, augmenting it with power from its natural realm and searing enemies that strike its flesh. This power extends to nearby allies. Ooh. Oh, the melting! Whoa! Die! Okay, that's convenient. A checkpoint. Because I think I will briefly duck into Fort Icon and clear out my inventory. Fuck off, dude. I will not do the expansion content at this point.
Come see what's left of my wares.
Come see what's left of my wares. Aww. My goods are cracked on with great care. That's an in joke that Bo would get. You know what? I'm gonna hold on to that one. Because while I don't think I have possession or decomposition, I do have a desperate need for an upgrade to my cloak, so I will hold on to that. And I might consider this, but these are getting broken down. It's hard to find a good manga these days. Way too much power fantasy, but not enough plot and lore. I know what you mean. Okay, so one that I do recommend if you've never, heard of it. It was adapted as an anime about a season or two back called Country Bumpkin Swordsman. And it is something of a power fantasy, but it is also not. Because it's like essentially the main character runs a swordsman dojo in a backwater. And it just so happens that he has trained so very many amazingly capable swordswomen. And like one dude. Actually, well, two dudes. One ends up temporarily replacing him at the dojo because his dad's like, I want you to go out and impregnate a woman right now. I want grandkids. Yeah. But like, one of his students is like the leader of the Knights Order. Another student is like the top ranked, Adventurers Guild member. Another is eventually goes on to found a sword mage, sub school at the academy, and so on. But it's one of those manga where you can tell that the writer, the author, really likes the subject matter because it goes into like the subject of like, I guess you could call it shadow boxing as a swordsman. Like, when I say shadow boxing, I mean, people will often kind of have like a shadow vision of what their enemy will do in battle if they approach them in that way at that time. There's a fight he has with like a dude who's on par with him. Yeah, that one. Strongly recommend. It is so good. Bone harvest. No, no, I can't. That would be nice, but I can't. Okay, so I need to catch up on Faraway Paladin, but I enjoy Faraway Paladin because the world building is Kino. It's also one of those isekai stories where the main character's like upbringing is a major part of like them as a person. I tend to find it, I don't know, annoying when like an isekai will just gloss over the fact that the character did have a childhood, did grow up with people, did have a family, and just be like, whatever, leaving that behind to go join the adventuring, group.
Come see what's left of my wares.
Fuck off, bitch. I've never read Dungeon Odyssey, though. What's that one about? Come on, melt. Yeah, I know. I've read up to, oh fuck, when was the last time I read the manga? I want to say I read up to the point where they were about to face off against like a dragon. But that was like a while back when that was like as far as the manga went. Also, being raised by undead was such a good like character development thing. Okay. Speak to Inquisitor Creed at Fort Icon. Yeah, though at least it's not as bad as fucking Parallel World Pharmacy, where like the god of medicine only gets a name in the anime. In the manga and the light novel, as I understand it, it's just called the medicine god. And you know, if you gave me a bit of lore that they cannot mention them by name, that would be disrespectful, and you get smoted, fine. Because at which point you say, "Oh, but the name's a mystery cult thing, and it's lost to history." But in this case, no, they doesn't give them a name. And like at one point, like, like they're like, "Oh yeah, Pantheos." Oh, so like Panacea.
You've returned. Is it finished then? So our great moment of triumph is soured with tragedy. The cult's defeat at the Necropolis marks humanity's first major victory in this conflict, proving that we are not going to simply lie down and let ourselves be wiped out by fiends and spirits. Word of this victory will spread and give people hope that someday this nightmare will truly be over. Yet we cannot forget those who sacrificed their lives to bring us here. Brave men and women of the Black Legion who took up arms in the defense of Uralan, a nation that scorned them as criminals, outcasts, and even traitors. In death, they were none of those things. They died as heroes. But I refuse to count Ulgrim among the dead just yet. I owe him that much. I could use your help.
Arum Ital, Arum Ital, Loith Soler, Loith Bismir, Monum Ulgrum Thonokolo Utokrain! Attack Zulu!
This is too dangerous. Need to find another way.
The rift gate! Something's coming through!
Inquisitor Creed, Devil's Crossing was attacked.
Take it easy, John. What's happened?
Some new kind of Ethereum. Just smashed right through our defenses. We need reinforcements. We're in bad shape.
I'll send help, but I can't spare much. We're equally pressed here. Loss of Ulgrim to the Void may be more serious than you realize.
Ulgrim is dead, Creed. You must know that. My people need help now. We won't survive another attack.
John,
It came from Malmuth. That thing that attacked Devil's Crossing. I escaped the city with a small group 2 weeks ago. Most died crossing the burning fields. My father was pulled into the bog by cannibals. I had to leave him. I was the only one who made it to Devil's Crossing. Malmuth has been a living nightmare since the Grim Dawn. I was part of the resistance there, if you can call it that. The Ethereals toyed with us, as if we ever had a chance. They let us fight on because they needed us. Needed our bodies for the grotesque things they make deep beneath the city. You think you're safe here, behind your stone walls. But those things from Malmuth will keep coming, and they will find you. And no fortress will ever be able to save you.
a chilling tale indeed. In our fight against the Chthonians, we've overlooked a growing ethereal threat. We must find Ulgrim. But maybe we can aid Malmuth at the same time. You've already done a great deal, but we must ask for your help once again. We need you to strike at the heart of the ethereal invasion, far to the east, in the ruined city of Malmuth.
Good, you're back. Do you have a moment? I struggle to admit this. I must abandon my efforts at opening a rift to reach Ulgrim. For all I've learned in battling the occult, I'm no warlock. During my last attempt, I nearly lost control of the ritual when something tried to breach my portal from the other side. This is too dangerous to continue. To make matters worse, Captain Bourbon has just arrived with a girl named Amala, bearing dire news from the east. While we struggled here to stop the Chthonians from unleashing terror and madness upon the world, the Ethereals have been far from idle. Everything they had done in this region is merely a sample of what is to come, if what Amala says is true. As much as it pains me to say this, our plans to rescue Ulgrim are secondary to this rising threat in the fallen city of Malmeth. The passage north from Burwich is quickly closing as the Aether Fire consumes everything. But perhaps we can accomplish both goals at once. You see, the Luminari have long been aware of the coven of witches hiding out to the north of Burwich, using the treacherous territory to deter pursuers. The witches will know the lay of the land and should be aware of any paths that remain through the Aether Fire. And I have hopes that they will be able to do what I could not, reveal where the Loghorian has taken Ulgrim. I would go myself, but I doubt the arrival of a high-ranking Inquisitor will be looked upon kindly within their circle, and I am needed in Devil's Crossing. I know that you have suffered much already in the defense of humanity, but you are the only one I can trust with this. Take my pendant and travel north from the Burwich Estates. A barrier of Aether Fire will stand in your way, but the pendant will make short work of it. Head north through Gloomwald until you've reached the edges of Ugdenbald, where I believe the Coven has made their home. You cannot arrive empty-handed. They may well burn any memory of discovering their location right out of your mind. I recommend you hunt down a creature known as Caraxus Foul, the scourge of Ugdenbald. I imagine it has grown quite large over the years, preying on unwary travelers making their way through Gloomwald. Find the beast within its waterside lair, Gloomwald, and bring its heart to the Coven. I'm sure they'll find some nefarious use for it. But we must overlook that in light of our situation. Show them this keepsake of Ulgrim's and find us a way to Malmeth. We will be awaiting your signal.
Excuse me, could I have a moment of your time? I overheard that you will be headed beyond Gloomwald in the hopes of reaching Malmeth. It's noble of you to spearhead this effort, but I was hoping there was something you could look into for me. You see, I did not travel down here alone. I was with my father.
My father and I were part of a small group that managed to escape the confines of Malmeth's ruins. But we did not get far before the casualties began. The spreading Aether Fire and roaming ethereals saw to that. But it was not until we reached Ugdenbog that the horrors truly began. Cannibals, poisonous fumes, and even carnivorous plants threatened our every move. By the time we entered Gloomwald, it was just my father and I, but we were not out of danger yet. A pack of cannibals ambushed us in the night. My father was injured in the fray. While it wasn't fatal, I had no choice but to leave him so that I could find help. Eventually, I found my way to Devil's Crossing. I'm not sure how long my father can survive on his own. He was never very good with weapons, or much of anything for that matter. Nevertheless, he's the only family I've got left, and I want to look for it. But the Inquisitor insists that I first debrief him on every detail that I can recall on Malmeth. On your way through Gloomwald, will you spare some time and search for...
Okay. Okay.
Good luck out in Ugdenbog. I've only traveled north of Burwich a handful of times, and the journey was never a pleasant one. I cannot imagine it's fared any better with a lack of patrols and human activity.
Lamau. Let me check my chat because I think it might have been immediately. Let's see. Saribot banned them. Yeah, Lamau. Saribot and fucking Nightbot. Immediate kill. All right, now I remember this was kind of a pain in the ass to find the path forward. And evolutionary necromancer. All right. Bye. Okay, that's not it. Sales are slow right now. Huh. Did not mean to go here. There it is. Look, it's the economy foul. You know, like, zombies aren't as rich as they used to be. Some of them are just straight up emaciated and gaunt. Can't get the good brains anymore. The forest full of cannibals. Beware, traveler. The lands ahead are as foul as they are deadly. The stench of Wendigo is heavy upon the air. Wendigo? The vile spirit taints the heart and corrupts the soul. None who have given in to its allure remain human for long. Where are you headed? We had thought the way north safer. We are turning back to Whitemire. And so should you, Wendigo. Wendigoon. Ulgrim's keepsake is a damn frying pan, I only just noticed. It is an ancient spirit of the forest. Once fierce and noble, it has become lost to the darkness. Lost even to Mogdragon. Mogdragon, actually, one sec. Is the patron god of the forest and guardian of the Rewari, our people. I was gonna just vaguely explain. I want there to be a game that comes along with a rather pronounced necromancy system in it. I remember there was like a fucking like mod for Skyrim. Probably defunct now because of all the random upgrades they've given the fucking game. But it put in a actual pronounced like necromancy system and the ability to become a lich. Da 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 da. So I'm not gonna be long. Just thought I'd come say hi to Ash and throw him a sub. Much appreciated. One of these days I'm going to set up a sub notification thing. But again, I really appreciate that. Nevermore. I'll have to remember that one. I'm not super into roguelites, but that's only because like constant looping and dying Hades style wears out its welcome real fast. All right, I remember thinking to myself, I hate this forest a few times when I was in it. Esoteric Ebb. I'll have to give that a look-see. That was a lot of dudes. That was a lot of dudes. Night, Warden Wolf. Sleep well. Do. We left Burwich not more than a week ago. There was something wrong with the place, and there were rumors of strange goings-on around the Krieg residence, so Frazier had this crazy idea that we should leave and head north. He said there was a nice town just up the road he should know. He lived up there less than a year ago. He said passage would be difficult, but we could make it if we stuck together. He couldn't have been more wrong. We weren't one day out of town when things started going poorly. First, Beatrix came down with a fever. Her skin went pale and her eyes glazed over. That night she started lashing out at us, shaking, vomiting, and screaming about some creatures in the woods, staring back at her. The following day, the same thing happened to Heinrich. With both of them sick, we were forced to travel slowly. Frazier and I towed them behind us in a makeshift sled. Too far from Burwich to turn back. Where Frazier said he knew of an inn that was less than a day's travel ahead. So we continued onward. When we reached the inn, it was abandoned. The air hung heavy with the scent of death. We were desperate and in need of shelter, so we stayed. That night was when the noises started. Frazier said he didn't hear none of it, but I could make it out loud and clear. It sounded like an animal growling and moving about just outside the inn. As the night wore on, the noises became louder. Frazier insisted there was nothing that I could hear. They were right outside. When dawn came, I didn't want to move, but Fraser forced me out of the inn. He said we had to continue, so we began pulling the sled north. As we moved, I could hear if following us, its footsteps. Beatrix and Heinrich were getting sicker by the minute, and we soon grew tired of hauling the sled. My hands were blistered and my feet bloodied from the rough path. Fraser said we had to leave them. The sled was just too heavy. We argued back and forth. That was when Fraser grabbed his hatchet and threatened to kill them right then and there. He said if I wouldn't let them go, he'd just do it for me. I didn't mean for what happened next, but I was scared and the growling sounds bore down on me like a fire in my mind. I shoved him and he stumbled over the root, falling face first into his hatchet, which lodged into the right side of his chest. He looked up at me with horror as blood filled his lungs. That's when I saw it standing behind Fraser at the edge of the woods, a massive, hideous creature, like a man with the head of an animal. I froze for a moment, then bolted down the road. As I ran, I could hear Fraser gurgling screams, begging me not to leave him. I can still hear them, all of them, wailing in the darkness like rabbits being eaten by a fox. It's been hours. Why won't they die? Is that thing still out there? Is it taunting me? I can't go on. I can't take it anymore.
Please, just leave me alone out here.
Lamau. I'm not dealing with this drama. The fuck are you? You sure about that? Okay, that is about as far as I can probably get in this stream before I don't before I'm between checkpoints. So let me just fucking set up somebody to raid on. I am going to raid Alkalive. All right. Thank you for tuning in. I will be back tomorrow with, I can't remember what, but I will be back tomorrow. Same time, same place, different game. Either way, I hope you have a good rest of your evening. I hope you have a good night and a good morning and all that. And I will see you by the fireside tomorrow. Ciao.